Good morning. My name is James Little from Mass Spec Interpretation Services. This is a demo of using the manual mode processing in MS Expert of Wiley 2025 KnowItAll software. I've previously made one on deconvolution and on peak picking. So this is the final in the series on the three different ways to process data within MS Expert. So let's open a file to demonstrate the software for this approach. So I'll open this CDF file. Somewhat of a complex file, not so much, but a little bit. So you can see while I was talking then, it went through and deconvoluted everything. We're in the deconvolution mode, as you'll see at the top. It found anything that might be co-eluding. It background subtracted and reported all the identities over here on the right side. It was a very fast process. There's one thing I forgot to mention when I was going through this process in the video was that you can always change a lot of things in the final report, but I forgot to mention as you're stepping through, let's say you're stepping through here and you decided that you didn't like that identity, you can plus to open it up or use your right key on your keypad to show the other possibilities. And then from the, let's say, sample history or chemistry, or just your personal knowledge from fragmentation, you decide that would be the better hit, you can click on it and the second hit and say right click and say rank selected match highest. And what that allows you to do is to report that species in the PDF report to your customer. So one addition there, but let's go on. Let's go ahead and just do the peak picking, and I'll show you why later, and let it do its calculations. The peak picking, of course, it just picks the top of the peak to get the spectrum and does the library search. No deconvolution, no background subtraction. So we'll move on to the last one, which is manual processing. And now we can do all of it manually here. So nothing's been done. It carries over one as somewhat of an artifact when it opens the program. But in general, you do all the processing here. I'll also mention at the bottom, you can see that I have two tabs open. So you can also have multiple samples open and leave them there while you're processing another one. So let's show you how to do a background subtract. So let's just say we want to do the identification of this peak here at about 8 minutes. You go down to the average range bar here, you'll see that it changes from a hand, or actually a pointer or hand, to another way with two bars. And we take those two bars and we spread them. And that gives us our average spectrum for the unknown for the peak at 8. Let's also go up because there's some background here, some air, chemical noise, etc. We'll go up to the background range bar. You see it changes again to bars and we'll spread here, take some background in front, take some background in back. And now we have our unknown spectrum in the bottom, but you can see that it's a very fast search. It gave us the 10 best. If you look at the top up here of the best possibilities, the 10, because that's what I specified in the settings. And it shows at the bottom, you'll see the average spectrum and the best library hit. So that's very easy to do. It goes very, very quickly. So sometimes I don't use this window here as much, this raw spectrum window. It just shows you as you move your cursor around what the real-time display is. You're changing your position in the chromatogram. So I like to have a little bit more space at the bottom, so I just push that up. Now I can see my structure and my spectrum better. We didn't go in and set up the settings. They should have been the same because when we're switching between deconvolution and peak picking, it should save the same. But let's just go through that to show that is an important setting. So you go to settings at the top and general settings, the number of hits. If you can filter out the number over here. So I've got it set for 5%. So if you look over here, these are the selected ion chromatograms that it thought were important in the file. But you can change those if you want. Let's say you wanted to do 10%. Everything below 10% thrown out, but not 5, and say apply. And you'll see you'll get less over here if you thought that was important to have fewer to look through. The other thing is, of course, the database. I always leave search all license reference databases. It's searching 1.2 million compounds in the reference libraries, in 20 different reference libraries from my analyses. So we have that one. If you wanted to do another one, you can just go to the trash can and throw those away to do another manual search, or you can just get right in the middle and move it over, and it'll do the other one. We'll also move the background over. Again, you could have just gone to the trash can and thrown it away if you wanted to. So we'll go over here and put it there. And now we have the next hit. Again, you see it searched 1.2 million compounds in the reference libraries and just almost instantaneously to give you the results in the top here. So it's very quick and efficient to do that, and you can step through as many as you like. One other thing is, let's say you wanted to zoom in on something. So let me clean up. I'm going to go to the trash can over here on the right, on the average bar, the trash can at the top to get rid of that. Let's say I wanted to look at this little peak here in this area. So you go up and you say right click, box zoom mode, spread it out. Now you can see it much better. So now I'll get me get an average spectrum of this little peak. I'll go to the average bar, bottom, spread it. Go to the background at the top, spread another one. And we'll take some background a little bit on the back side there. So you can see it automatically searched it, and it thinks the best hit is this fatty acid ethyl ester. So if you just wanted to compare what happened in peak picking and what happened in deconvolution, we already did them. They happen so quickly. We could switch and see what if they tell us the same thing. So if you go to, let's go to deconvolution first. And you can see it told you what that is too. It says it's an ethyl ester also for this one. So you can jump back and forth if you want to, and you can also look in peak picking. I like the way that it doesn't change the window that you've shown. It's just still there if you want to compare. So let's go to peak picking and click on the little box to see what it thought it was. We got the same identity in all three different modes here. So let's go back to manual. So go to the top, go back to the manual. So we're back to the window that we had before. Let's clean up a little bit. We'll go up and right click and say zoom out. It's very important after you've been zooming to go back and right click and say selection mode. You want to have the cursor here instead of when you click and drag or doing some operation. You don't want to be doing zooming. You want to select something. So when you're doing select, be sure you're in the selection mode. So now let's talk about selected ion chromatograms. Before in the other modes, we talked about having mass chromatograms. We have them up at the top here. You can pick one over here on the side if you found some ion you wanted. But the ones that I'm interested in is ethyl esters. So if I look up at the structure that I had over here on the side, this ion 88 is always for this rearrangement for the CH3COO ethyl. So if I wanted to see where ethyl esters came in this chromatogram, I would go to the bottom, and it changes here again to mass chromatogram. So if you're here, the cursor changes, and the other thing, when I do this, it's better to go to the top and get the cursor. So up here where it says crosshair, that makes it easier when you click and drag to see where you're at, because it just extends the line all the way up through the spectrum. And we told it to plot 88. So if you go to the top here, you'll see it's displaying 87 through 88 in green. The red is the total ion chromatogram. So it's still a little hard to see because it overlaps everything. So let's go change the way it's viewed. So let's go up to the top and we'll do stack. Now it's separated out better. It's kind of, the intensity is not very good. So let's try doing something for that to scale independently. We go up here. I'm holding it there just to see what it is. It shows me it scale independently. And what you'll see is there's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and even one little peak, 7 ethyl esters in the sample. So it's an easy way to find things. So I could have done that just by let's click this off. So it's not displaying that. And I could have gone and just gotten 88 out of the list and done the same thing. But I wanted to show you the ability to do mass chromatograms with the bar at the bottom. Of course, you can sort these list of selected ion chromatograms by several different ways. You can add things manually. I'm looking at plus down here. You can also make things go away. So very flexible in that regard. So let's again clean up a little bit. I'm going up to the mass chromatograms and making that one disappear. I just wanted to show you one last thing. I'll go back to the cursor. I think I'll get rid of the cursor, close it. And so we'll go up to Edit, View, the top, and let's do peak areas. You can do, like we said before, deconvolution does area percents automatically. Peak picking, you can do it in the same manner as we'll do it here, but we'll do it here also. So go to Table, and you go to Automatic Integration. If you like parameters, just say Preview, and then say Replace. And now when you go out, you'll have the area percent for the different peaks based on 100 here. So another way to do area if you wanted to get something for a report. It would be nice if they put the area percent in the peak picking up in the table. Here it wouldn't be appropriate to put in the table because it really doesn't have listed everything. It just has the 10 best hits listed when you do the search here, not for the whole sample. So that's pretty much everything. I was just looking at my list to make sure I got everything. I think I've discussed everything I need to. So I hope you enjoy using these three different functions within MS Expert to identify your unknowns. Good day.